Okay, we have already recorded this entire episode, and then afterwards, after I edited everything...
It's recording, right?
Yeah, we're recording. I realized that I did not have our original intro, which was recorded in the park, and it was a very cool anecdote that happened to Shannon. So take it away, dear.
Okay, so you'll hear about our food later. Our youngest and I went to the Red Rose Tavern because, well, Daniel and our oldest go on a ride or something because our oldest does not like food. Our youngest and I usually go get the gray stuff at the Red Rose Tavern. And so we were continuing our tradition because the youngest had asked and I had mobile ordered. And so it was time to go get it. And we headed to Red Rose and grabbed it and sat down to eat. We split one because the gray stuff is a shortbread cookie with probably like a tiny red velvet cupcake. And then it's just covered in frosting. So it is a ton of sugar.
And to be fair, I think it might be mousse as opposed to just frosting.
So it's a lot of sugar for one person. So we always get one and we split it. And so our youngest and I are sitting down to eat it. And a cast member comes over and he starts asking about it. And he's like, oh, do you like that? And I said, yeah, that's one of our traditions to come here and get one and split one. And he's like, hold on just a second. And so he goes over to the counter with food and he asks for another one and he brings it over to us. And he's like, have a second. That way you don't have to share. And I was like, that's very sweet of him, but we need to share this.
That's really cool.
I knew you were going to be showing up later, so I wasn't overly concerned. And so his name was David. So I got a picture with him and our youngest and the gray stuff. Then David starts asking if I know much about the Red Rose Tavern. I said, well, we come in here every trip, but I don't know much about the building or the decorations themselves. And so he's like, have you ever noticed Mrs. Potts and Chip in the other room? I said, yeah, we were eating lunch in here earlier and I noticed them up on the bookshelf and I pointed them out to my husband and I was like, hey, look at that. And he goes, those were used in the live action movie. And I was like,
which is crazy that they've got an
actual prop from the movie. And he said, and in that back room, you'll find Lumiere and Cogsworth. And those were also from the live action movie. And there's a key next to Cogsworth, I believe. That is from the live action Pinocchio movie, which we have not seen.
No, I watched the Guillermo del Toro one instead of the live action one.
So I have not seen that one, but he said the key is in that live action version. So I have not seen this door open. So when you enter Red Rose Tavern through the normal doors, automatic doors, and you head towards the registers, so the stuff that I'm talking about is on the left if you're heading in. And so where Cogsworth and Lumiere are, there's a doorway that I had never seen open before. So there's a door that goes back out to more tables that are outside. Mm-hmm. And there's a doorway to the right, and I had never seen it open. And so he told me to go back there and look. And I was like, I know there's a door there, but I just thought it was another exit door. And he said, do you know what book Belle is reading in Beauty and the Beast? Far Off Places, right? A Prince in Disguise, and what's the rest of it? I should have looked that up earlier. Anyway, Far Off Places and a Prince in Disguise. And it is the Book of Aladdin, which I had never thought like it was an actual book. I thought it was just made up for the story, but Belle is referencing Aladdin. And
Far Off Places, Daring Sword Fights,
there we go.
Prince in Disguise.
I was like, I know I'm missing one phrase, Daring Sword Fights. And he said, if you go back to that room, so you walk through, instead of exiting the left, you go to the right, there is a library back there. And that book is on the bookshelf. As we were leaving, I went to check all these things out. And it was all there. It was really cool.
I saw you running with every prop in your arms yelling, we got to go, we got to go.
On the other side of the Red Rose Tavern in the seating area is a picture of Gaston, and it has antlers around the picture.
Well, he uses them in all of his decorating.
He used them in all of his decorating, and I don't remember the number, so I have forgotten this piece. The number of antlers around Gaston's picture represents the number of provinces in France, because he has gone to all the provinces and is hunted there and it's brought home kill. So he's one of the best hunters.
I bet the Imagineers had fun with that place. That's cool.
Yeah. And so I believe the last thing he told me, because I'm sure I'm forgetting something. So his father was an Imagineer and worked for Walt Disney. So he'd asked if I'd ever noticed the clock in It's a small world. And I was like, oh yeah, I had. And he's like, did you notice that it doesn't actually have the right time on it? Which I had never noticed, but it is at 12 o'clock. And he said, the clock is always striking midnight. It never ends. And so the Imagineers at that point were like, if the clock always is striking midnight, like in Cinderella, a reference to Cinderella, and it doesn't stop, then the magic never stops. So that was a cool tidbit about the clock in Small World. So next time we go through Small World, I will have to look for that because I had never noticed that it wasn't actually telling the right time. You know, I just thought, oh, it's another prop. But it is for that reason.
Well, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So Mary Blair, if I'm remembering correctly, she did the concept art and the artwork for Small World. She also did the concept artwork for Cinderella too.
Oh, really?
Like if you look at some of the concept artwork, you'll notice I'm going to have to double check before we post this. But some of the concept art looks familiar, has a similar art style to the facade, especially of Small World. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, dear.
Yes. So I hope I remembered everything that David told me, but it was a lot of good information that you just kind of look around the decorations like, oh, that's neat. And then realizing there is a lot more than what meets the eye.
To all Disney adults and morbidly curious casuals, we proudly present our spectacular festival pageant of theme park ramblings and peculiar opinions in thousands of seconds of average quality sounds of Mice and Matterhorns podcast.
Welcome to Of Mice and Matterhorns, where we reveal the mystery of and revel alongside Disney adults. I'm your host, Daniel.
And I am Shannon.
You're also a host.
And I am your hostess, Shannon. I feel like whenever I say hostess, I think of a Hostess cupcake.
Well, me too. And that's fine with me because I really like.
So then should I just say host?
Yeah. Host. Co-host. We're both co-hosts. You moving?
Fine. I'm the co-host.
You're a host. We're all hostesses.
But by the way, I do really like your little sound bit. Is that what it's called?
The theme song?
Yeah. At the beginning.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I love the electrical light parade.
And
I was going to wear those ears while we recorded this, and I forgot because I was playing Dreamlight Valley right before this.
Didn't we watch Tokyo's version of that parade?
Yeah, that thing's like on steroids.
That was nuts.
I look forward to visiting our family in Japan and maybe stopping by Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea.
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm. You know, just it might happen.
It might, maybe.
Fighting a pillow over here. It's attacking my head.
Today, we are recounting the Disneyland portion of our trip. We did DCA last episode, doing Disneyland this trip. And that will not include Thanksgiving Day because we did a whole in-park episode on that. But we're going to briefly go over our trip reports for what would be November 28th and December 1st.
Yes, and we got to experience Disneyland Christmas. So we did not rope drop again, which pained me, but was necessary for our family's well-being.
Yeah, we didn't do a lot of rope dropping.
We didn't do any. You did.
I did.
You had to stop rubbing that in. Thank you. So I think we got there like 8:30 or 9, something like that. But you mobile ordered food at the Galactic Grill, and we had to get the chocolate cinnamon Comet cold brew once again because it was so good. That is the cold brew that had a whole churro in it. So that very tasty. And our youngest and I shared, what was it?
Was that the snow globe? Or no, that was the orange cranberry parfait.
Well, I was going to talk about the breakfast sandwich, but yes, we shared all three of us shared the orange cranberry parfait, and then the youngest and I shared a egg sandwich on I think it was bagel with some kind of maybe chipotle mayonnaise or something. And thankfully the cheese scraped off really easily, and he wanted the extra cheese on his half. And he was so delighted with that sandwich, and he asked for it every day after that. And then, as Daniel said, we got the orange cranberry parfait, and I really enjoyed it because I love orange and I love cranberry, and it was actual dried cranberries. So our youngest hated it because it had dried cranberries in it. So he would pick his bites around the dried cranberries.
Was this the one that had like the almost shoe pastry covered in green with the star on top too?
Yes.
So
And I
parfait was
think-
an interesting choice of words, I thought.
Well, I think the parfait was the bottom part.
It was, but I mean, looking at the picture, it does look much more desserty than you'd assume maybe a parfait would be. But
What was your thought? I would give it probably 4 Shannons.
I was fine with it.
Yeah.
You're still pushing the Shannons, huh? You're stealing Ordinary Adventures on the rating scale.
4 stars, whatever.
It looked nicer than it tasted to me. It was a great big okay in my mind. And that, I think, maybe goes for the breakfast burrito I had too.
I don't think I tried a bite, so I don't remember
it was fine. It's hard to go wrong when you just throw like eggs and meat in a tortilla. So I did really enjoy it, but
It's way better than California Adventures breakfast burrito that we had.
I liked California Adventures, but this one was better. It was a safer choice, right? Like I enjoyed California Adventures because it had something different. This was not different from anything you could get at like a fast food place.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a bad thing. It was fine. It was filling, relatively inexpensive.
Oh, and we should mention what our oldest got for breakfast. The Wish Sipper.
I do have the Wish Sipper listed here on the...
So our oldest is extremely picky, as we have mentioned before. So he just always eats the cereal that we pack or other snacks. And so we had seen the movie Wish because he had been begging us, and we had other family members come along. So we had a great time going to see the movie with them. So he had been begging for the Wish Sipper. And I told him our first day in Disneyland that we would get it for him. And we partially got breakfast at the Galactic Grill because I knew it had the Wish Sipper. That day, it wasn't letting us mobile order, so I was a little panicked that they were sold out, but Daniel went up to the counter and they were available to order at the counter.
Yeah.
So our oldest was very happy. I think there's like 3 different light settings, so it lights up in 3 different ways, and he was thrilled with it and had it around his neck for maybe like 10 minutes.
It's got a cool little lanyard attached to it. And by sipper, we mean it's a souvenir cup, essentially.
Yep.
But I mean, Disney does this kind of with their popcorn bucket sometimes too, where, yeah, it's technically a sipper. It may technically be a popcorn bucket, but they even give you the drink in a regular old paper cup because it's not a practical thing. And it's more just a souvenir.
Now, he has drank water in it since we've come home.
Yeah, unfortunately, which means I have to wash it by hand because there's lots of electronics and a rubber straw. Before we made it to breakfast, we talked to Nancy.
Was this the pins?
We went and bought 2 pins.
That's right.
Which we aren't huge pin traders necessarily.
Well, we're not pin traders.
We're not pin traders.
We're not a huge pin collectors.
We're not huge pin collectors. But we did buy 2 pins this time, so we stopped and you found your holiday
Small World pin.
Right, and that's kind of cool because it says like Happy Holidays and you can switch it.
Yeah, you spin it and it says Happy Holidays in different languages, and it's got the big smiley face that's on the front of the Small World, and it's the white and the gold, which I absolutely love.
Yeah, and then I got an Oswald pin.
Right, that went
to go
with
with
your
my outfit.
Your Oswald bound that happened on Thursday. Yeah. And we talked with Nancy, and we found a bit more about the candlelight processional from her. And she had sung in it in years prior. And that year there had been some personal matters, so it hadn't worked for her to sing in it. But she had done it years prior. And did she say she sang in it the year that... I'm blanking.
Dick Van Dyke, I think, hosted it.
Yes. Okay. Is that what she said? That she sang it in the year that he hosted?
Yeah. She was really interesting to talk to.
Yeah.
And it was fun. And that's something that I've been trying to do more, and I know you have too, is interact with the cast members a little bit because they're oftentimes very interesting, especially people that have worked there for a long time.
Yeah. And she was a little bit older, and I was kind of wondering, I was like, I wonder if she's been here a long time. And she had been.
Yeah.
And so she was talking about how, wasn't she the one that had taken her mother to Disneyland? So. And I think she had said that her mom had recently passed away. And I would guess that Nancy was probably in her 60s. And so I'm guessing that this had been a few years prior that maybe she'd brought her mom to Disneyland, but that she had worked at Disneyland and really wanted to make sure that her mom could have a trip there. And I was like, it was just such a neat story to hear from her. So it was fun to talk to her and also other cast members and just hear their stories and their experiences, because it's not all about just our experience and what we have going on there. And that's what it has been in the past. And it's really fun to start branching out of my comfort zone to interact with others there and what their experiences are.
Yeah, it's becoming a new part of the experience for us is hearing other people's experiences, especially those cast members. And so it's an opportunity to send in those cast compliments and say, hey, this person made our day a little bit more special. So that was Nancy. And then we went and got breakfast and we saw the SoCal Disney Dad. Is that his name?
Yes, Travis.
Travis?
Trevor. We saw the SoCal Disney
Dad. Saw the SoCal
Trevor,
Disney Dad.
At the Galactic Grill, and he was filming. And so we kind of waited, and it was a little bit awkward, but I wanted to be able to say hi because we do enjoy watching his videos. He's got 2 boys as well. They do some other parks in Southern California too. I think my first experience with them was when we were going to go to Legoland in 2022. And that's when I first found their channel because they were like one of the few people that did a Legoland episodes. And they covered so much information. And it was so helpful in planning Legoland because I had been there since I was 19 years old.
Yeah. Their channel offers brief, thorough explanations on different topics. And that was pretty fun to see him.
Yeah.
So after breakfast, I have that we headed to Toontown. Is that what you're looking at pictures.
We headed that way. We didn't. We got stopped. So we were headed to Toontown and we were going to go on the rides because I think those lines were shorter. And then we ran into characters and we had gotten our oldest we got both of our boys an autograph book.
Yeah.
And we had discovered this earlier, but was confirmed today on Tuesday, November 28th, that our youngest does not want to get autographs.
Turns out he's not a fan.
We saw Aladdin and went to get his autograph, and our youngest was hiding behind us. He was trying to run off to different areas.
Absolutely not. No.
And so we weren't trying to force him, but just like, do you want to? And he's like, no. And our oldest is like trying to jump in front of other people. We're like, hold on, it's not your turn yet. So we got Aladdin and Moana and Ariel. And so, yeah, our oldest was thrilled. And then it was so cute with Ariel. And this is the Ariel from the new movie, which I have only seen half an hour of because our oldest sat next to me on our plane ride down. And he had to tell me about Minecraft every 5 minutes.
Right.
Very sweet of him to want to include me in what he was doing. And so I had to keep pausing my movie. So I did not get to watch the live action Ariel yet. But Ariel is one of my favorite characters, Disney princesses. And so as our oldest was talking to Ariel, he goes, yeah, and you're my mom's favorite. And she goes, oh, that's so sweet. And turns to me and goes, would you like a picture? And I was like,
so we've got a picture.
Okay. And so I printed out the pictures for the autograph book because it came with slots for pictures. And I was like, I'll just print out one without me and one with me, and I'll let him choose which one he wanted. And so we're going through the pictures, and I'm like, okay, which one do you want? He's like, well, the one with you. So I was just like, what a little sweetheart he is. So he was very, very excited. And Daniel got a lot of pictures of me with our youngest kind of hiding behind me during the character interactions.
I don't know if it was then. I know it was on Thanksgiving, but he got rejected by Merida twice, which was pretty funny.
Our oldest did,
yeah,
yes.
Our oldest trying to get an autograph, but she was in the midst of going somewhere. But
it was that day too. We were, because after Ariel, we were moving on to Toontown, and Merida was about to leave to go back behind the doors, and he was waiting to get a picture, and they're like, no, she's leaving. So I don't remember. Did he ever get her?
No, he never got Merida's autograph.
So we tried.
And headed into Toontown after that.
And Roger Rabbit. Maybe other people can chime in and let us know what the queue used to look like before, because I don't recall at all.
It fits the theme of the movie, though.
It does.
It's very film noir.
It does, and it gets you ready for the ride. Even the wait time, I think, said 20 minutes, and I think we ended up waiting 35 minutes. So it was a longer wait, but it didn't feel like that, other than the annoying kids behind me.
I hate those kids. Yeah, the kids ran around Toontown. We mentioned it before. They loved any play area where they could have free reign, and that's essentially what Toontown is. So they had fun running around Old Toontown and then the newer areas too. They just had a blast with that.
And then I don't remember exactly what happened, but I know you were having some issues with the kids, so we split up for a little bit. You took our youngest, I took our oldest. You actually got to go on a ride. I didn't.
Yeah, we were kind of wandering around and I was like, what do you want to do? And our youngest looked at me and said, Pinocchio. I thought, well, that's weird. You don't like the movie, the ride. You're afraid of rides. Like, why would you pick Pinocchio? But I like Pinocchio, so I was fine with it. We went on it and had a good old time.
Yeah, our oldest just tried to pull the sword out of the stone, and he's literally standing on the stone trying to yank it out. So I got a good picture of
Sorry,
that.
bud, you're not worthy.
And then I think we grabbed chicken nuggets at Red Rose Tavern just because, like, okay, you all need food. I think that's what's
People were
going on
hungry.
is you need food. And then we headed to Millennium Falcon
Yeah.
because our oldest was like, I want to be a pilot and I want mom to pilot with me. And I thought, I am probably going to throw up.
I think that was his second favorite ride this trip was the
Yeah.
Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, probably. We didn't even go on Rise this time.
No.
We spent 5 days in Disneyland and I didn't even get on Rise or Radiator Springs, my 2 favorite rides. That is Disneyland with kids.
Yeah. And thankfully, we've been on both those rides quite a few times.
Yes. But I was the pilot with our
But
oldest.
so jealous.
On the Millennium Falcon. I did not throw up. We caused some significant damage to the Falcon, but we got some, 2 things of coaxium back. So not as bad as I have done. I've never been the pilot before. I've only ever been the gunner and what's the other
Engineer.
one? Engineer. I prefer the engineer. You have like 2 buttons to press.
I like the engineer. So my ranking would be pilot. Right side pilot is the best because that's the one that gets to pull the light speed
So,
lever.
of course, I was a left side pilot because our oldest knew that light speed was on the right.
So pilot is the best by far. Then it's engineer. Then it's gunner. And I went on this ride at least 3 times and was the gunner every single time, unfortunately. Also, one of the best queues in the park. I mean, actually getting to walk through the Millennium Falcon is
Wasn't it next to?
a dream come true. Huh?
Is that actually like? Is
So,
that
yeah.
supposed to be in it? Like
So-
when you're waiting to go into the cockpit?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's like walking into the movie.
My
That's
ignorance
why.
shows.
There are pictures of me going in there for the first time, and I am
Crying?
Well, my gob was properly smacked.
Yeah. I was not with him for that. So then we went to Tiana's
Oh,
for
okay.
lunch. And I had the children's meal.
Oh, this was it. This is our first time actually
Yeah.
eating at Tiana's properly. We'd gone
Yep.
and gotten mint juleps, but
Right.
that didn't count.
Yeah. So this was actually having a meal there, and I got the children's meal. After seeing reviews of the restaurant, I do not do spice well. I probably have mentioned this. I have reflux pretty bad. Cannot do spice. So I was bummed because a lot of the dishes sounded like they had spice to them. So did not want to chance that. And I was like, the kids' meal is probably not going to be spicy. I was correct. It was not. It was fine. It was a drumstick. And I want to say mashed potatoes,
Very safe bet.
but it might have been rice. It's been a while.
Okay.
But I did get oh, that's right. I ordered the food at Tiana's, and then I had ordered food at the Jolly Holiday on Main Street. So I picked up the food
That's
at
right.
Tiana's, brought it to you, ran in quotes, all the way to Main Street, grabbed these treats from Jolly Holiday and came back to Tiana's.
What did you I've got written down kind of all over the place, but I'm guessing this was the raspberry macaron and the snow globe cake.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So back to Tiana's. So I got the kids' meal, which now I remember it was a chicken drumstick and rice. And then we shared a lemon beignet.
But real quick, we had food from all over the park at this lunch because apparently I grabbed you a Tatooine sunset too.
That was right before.
Was that right before? Okay.
Because we were just at
Galaxy's Edge.
Edge.
That's right.
Yeah. So as we were going, you grabbed that. And then what did you get?
I got the shrimp and grits, and all the food looks really good, and there's been mixed reviews on it. So my takeaway with the shrimp and grits, I miss the old shrimp po' boy sandwich a lot, and I miss certain aspects of the other menu. This seems like they're trying to be a slightly more upscale version of what they used to be with their offerings. The shrimp and grits was really good. Really, really good. It was overpriced for what it was. There wasn't enough of it. It was expensive. Still very good. The cornbread was really good, but very sweet, like borderline dessert sweet.
And I expected the cornbread to be warm, and it was cold.
Yeah, that was a little weird. I forgot about that. The cornbread was cold, like
Yeah.
which sort of edged it more into the dessert category too.
Yeah. So I took like one bite and I thought I would eat more of it. And I was like,
Yeah.
nope, if cornbread is not warm, I don't want to eat it.
It probably would have tasted better warm too, and maybe even with some butter on it. But
Yeah.
I mean, it was not dry.
No, it was very moist.
Very moist. The grits were smooth, very cheesy. The cheese was blended in with it, so it was a very nice, savory dish. The shrimp was very good. I'd liked more of them, but there wasn't. So, yeah.
Yeah. The beignet was okay.
I did not. Yeah, the beignet was a big old nothing in my mind.
Yeah.
Like,
I had a big canker sore in my mouth at this point. So a lemon beignet was like one bite and no more.
and it was such a deceptive thing to call it a beignet too, because it got that icebox frosting or whatever on it. And it really is kind of like one of those store-bought hand pies that you can get, but about 5 times the price. So we got food in us.
So we got food at Tiana's, and then Daniel really wanted to do canoes.
Because I had never in my life done the canoes, and they are an old attraction. And one that I had failed to realize was not a premium experience. I assumed you had to pay to go on the canoes because it's around the rivers of America.
Yeah.
You're actually sitting in a real canoe, paddling. It's not on a track. There's guides, and you never told me that it wasn't free. And you've been on it before.
Yeah.
So you all went to Tom Sawyer Island.
Yeah. So the boys were
I went
a bit
on the adventure of a
antsy,
lifetime.
and I did not want to take them back to the hotel by myself. And so I was like, well, I'll go to Tom Sawyer's Island because we could just kind of wander aimlessly, and it's a lot quieter over there. And surprisingly enough, we got over there and the boys' energy just completely returned, and they were running everywhere and I was trying to keep up, and those caves are so tight, and I scraped because I had a Loungefly backpack on, and my ears were tucked in my backpack because I have a special...
Your mini ears.
Yeah, my Mickey Mouse ears were tucked in the special backpack pocket for the ears. And some of the spots were so tight that I was scraping my ears on the walls because I was trying to keep up with the kids. So finally, after a few caves and bridges and such, I was like, I am going to sit on this bench and I'm going to be here while you two run.
And they had never been over there.
No.
And so they loved it.
Now, I think our oldest had been there when he was very
Really?
little.
Okay.
So he does not recall
Sure.
anything. And there's a lot of things broken, which was too bad.
Oh, of the
On the island.
things that you can do.
Yeah. So there was one where you can turn the crank something, and it's supposed to pull something up out of the water. You can still turn the crank, but nothing pulls up out of the water.
Special effects.
There's a barrel bridge on the water that you used to be able to walk on. That's closed. And I believe there was one other thing that was closed.
Okay.
I can't remember. So a more interactive thing, but the boys didn't seem to care. They had
No, they loved it.
lots
I mean,
to
between
do.
that and the Redwood Challenge Trail.
Yeah. And then they would take my
And
phone
Toontown.
because I would turn the flashlight, and they took my phone and would do that. But while we were so very busy on the island, taking pictures of you from the island,
My
what
dream
were you
came
doing?
true. I went on the canoes.
How many times?
So I was supposed to go on the canoes and then meet you over on the Tom Sawyer Island. I went on the canoes, got off the canoe, and immediately got back in line and got on the canoes again. I had no idea that it was going to be one of the best rides in the entire park, and I had never been on it in my entire life. I'm sitting there, and I should point out, I'm wearing a Jungle Cruise outfit. I had a khaki shirt on, I had a Jungle Cruise themed ears, these stunning green pants, and some khaki shoes. It's one of the best rides in the entire park. The jokes are just as funny as Jungle Cruise. Not skippers, guides, I guess, were able to go off script a little bit. It was fun. You were getting a little bit of activity in, and there was the fact that you're having to work together with complete strangers and oftentimes getting splashed. It's humorous because you're supposed to be working together, and it's embarrassing because you're not very good at it. The jokes are funny. You're getting some energy out.
You're getting energy out? What energy did you have?
It was so good. Good enough that I immediately got off and got right back on. And yeah, it's a top 5 ride for me at Disneyland.
Wow.
So
that
better,
means
it's better than the Jungle Cruise.
It's up there with Radiator Springs, Rise, and what other 2 rides?
Well, I don't know that Radiator Springs is a top 5 for me. Is this a shocking revelation to you?
I don't know if I can talk to you anymore.
Okay, it's going to fluctuate all over the place, but if you're asking me right now, my top 5,
Yeah.
Rise, Guardians of the Galaxy, Canoes, Peter Pan, and we'll go Space Mountain.
Over Haunted.
I forgot about Haunted.
I knew you did.
Yeah, okay, Haunted. Haunted Mansion.
Wow.
And then see, and here's some of the things about rides like Haunted Mansion and the Canoes is Disneyland as opposed to California Adventure, and I think I've mentioned this, to me is more or less like parts of it are living museums.
Yeah.
Right? Like parts of it have been around since before our parents were born and have not changed. Like
Hold on.
okay, 1955 is when Disneyland opened.
Yeah. Do you know when your parents were born?
I haven't the slightest idea. I'm just kidding. I do because it's my dad's PIN number for everything.
Only my mother is born after 1955.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Is your mom specifically? But I mean, we're talking like great moments with Mr. Lincoln, the first animatronic ever made. The dinosaurs that were at the World Fair, Small World that was at the World's Fair, Autopia, like all these things are living museum pieces. The canoes are one of those, and I'd never experienced it. And it was fun. It was exciting. The views, for lack of a better word, and I know it's all artificial, were really cool. The one joke, and they have like their standard jokes that they say, and they are able to go off script on some of them. But the one joke that hits every single time is that they say, well, I almost don't want to ruin it in case you go on it. Well, they say
in case I go on it
no,
or
anyone
other people?
else. But I guess it's not that big a deal. But the joke that they always say is how we're halfway through our trip, but we're coming up on the most like dangerous portion because we're about to be public facing is the joke. And you take a few more strokes and you realize like it's not just a joke. You are poorly paddling this canoe with like 18 strangers. People are getting splashed all over the place. You turn a corner and there are thousands of people that are sort of resting on the waterfront.
Hundreds, maybe.
I mean, thousands
100.
like walking by too.
Yeah,
like, it's
that's not thousands, but
thousands of them.
Yeah, hundreds.
And then, you turn a corner and you see those thousands of people. It was a blast. Like, go on the canoes. Anytime we go to any other Disney park, if there's canoes, I want to make it a point to go on the canoes.
Chris Provost from Park.
Yeah.
Park
Provost?
Yes, Park Provost.
Park Pass I hope he never listens to this.
You won't. We'll be so happy to know that.
His enjoyment of it was one of the things that spurred me onto it too.
Mm-hmm. Is that how you found out it wasn't a premium ride?
No, I think we'd talked about it before, but he really emphasized it.
Yeah, no, we had talked about it because I was shocked to realize that you didn't know you don't have to pay for rides at Disneyland.
Well, you have to pay for some tours and stuff and like premium experiences. How many times have you been on the canoes? Because you have done it.
Well, I've gone with my family 5 times to Disneyland. So I have been on the canoes at least 5 times.
So you go every time, huh?
Yes. The only time I don't know for sure is we went one day and it was in November. So it was Disney. It was Christmas time. And I don't remember if we got to it because we only did one day. Mm-hmm. So I don't remember that one. So
yeah. Canoes.
Yeah, so that was that experience. The boys absolutely loved Tom Sawyer Island. The Daniel finally joined us. I thought that he had just resolved to staying on the canoes for forever. He'd made a new friend who came and did the canoes every year. He was an annual pass holder.
His name was Chuck. Talked to him. He was the only person. I only had one pin, but the only person this trip that I handed one of our Mice and Matterhorn pins to. In the off chance that you're listening to this, Chuck, it was great to talk to you. You were a fantastic partner on the canoes. And maybe I'll see you again next time.
So Daniel made a friend there. Then he finally showed up on the island.
Yeah, that's right as they're about to close.
Yep. And I thought, okay, he's found us. That's good. And then I don't remember what happened. Oh, then we went to the treehouse.
Oh, I don't even have that written down here. Oh, yeah.
So we got to the treehouse. There was no line finally. Mm-hmm. It had been pretty. So I think our problem was we thought what we thought was the line for the treehouse was actually the line for the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right. This is the new Adventureland treehouse based on Swiss Family Robinson. So they've kind of gone back to what it was before Tarzan.
Yes. And so we finally figured out that was not the line for the treehouse. And so we made our way through the treehouse, and it was a lot of fun. Very different from the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse originally, but still a lot of fun. and very interesting to see the different rooms. As we were going through, there was a long line behind us, so it was kind of hard to stop and stare for a long period of time to get in, to take in all the details. But we tried to take some videos and some pictures, and the boys enjoyed it. Our youngest was nervous because we were high up, and I think he was just a little bit like, no one fall.
Yeah. This, I think, is the best iteration.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to soak it in when you're in the midst of it, but being a little bit removed and thinking back to it, they've got really cool animatronics. The music is nostalgic. It's got that tinge of familiarity from the movies that we grew up with, or the movie that we grew up with, but it's all done to modern standards with modern technology. They've got some animatronics that are really cool. There's the ostrich, the frogs jumping in the one room, the toucan, like they did a good job with it. And the views from the top, being able to oversee the whole park again is just really cool. So that was fun.
Yeah, that was really neat to be able to see out over the park and to see the different lands.
Yeah, then I have that we went to the Millennium Falcon again. Do you have that?
I don't, but I know the youngest and I did not do it again. I have a video of an orange. Oh, this is when we ate our snacks. We had snack time. Daniel ate my orange from my children's meal, and then our youngest finished off the snow globe, and I ate the raspberry macaron.
What is that noise?
It's
was
a
that
video.
Your phone? Okay.
I'm watching a video. Sorry to remember. And I'm so glad I got to eat that raspberry macaron because our final day of Disneyland, I had bought extra macarons to take home, and someone left them.
That's weird.
In
we don't know who it was.
The security area.
They were confiscated.
He didn't bother.
I tried to fight TSA off, and they threatened to kick me off the plane, and they ate them right in front of me. It was nuts.
He didn't bother to pull
Those
them.
Those power-hungry TSA agents ripped the cookies out of my hand, ate them in front of me, and yelled, "What are you going to do about it?" while spitting bits of macaron in my face.
Oh, really? Because when I asked you where they were, you looked at me blankly and said, "What are you talking about?"
And we saw Darth Vader.
And I said, "The macarons that were in the bottom of the stroller."
So we went and saw Darth Vader in the Star Wars.
And you said there were macarons in the bottom of the stroller. And I said, yes, there was the Mickey ornament macaron and the raspberry macaron. Where are they?
Yeah, then we saw Darth Vader, I think.
But anyway, so I got to eat a macaron, and then we went to the tree lighting ceremony. So at around sunset, they do the tree lighting ceremony on Main Street. So the time changes a little bit every night. I'm trying to remember back. And so we went and got to experience that. They do a whole countdown with everyone, and then they do magical music, and then the tree lights up. It's really fun. And since we are Disney Visa card holder members, whatever you want to call it, we get a special meet and greet with a character in each park. And Disneyland, it's usually Darth Vader. That was our
Star
youngest
Wars character, at least.
It was our youngest first character meet and greet in 2020 when we took him to Disneyland for the first time. And I kind of think Daniel scarred him for life, and that's why he hates meeting characters.
He enjoyed meeting an old friend this time then.
And once again, he did his side-eye picture.
Hey, the guy that played Darth Vader, he really did it out. He scared the heck out of me.
So it's what is the building called?
The Star Wars launch pad. They've changed the name a few times. It's that big,
it's the
rotating building.
Yeah, it used to be the rotating building,
Tomorrowland.
and this time we didn't even go inside. Really, it was just kind of
Star Wars launch bay. Is that what it is now?
Yeah. Sure, we'll call it that. So the cast member is like so serious, and I was like, oh, they are really in character.
Yeah, they were going full Rise of Resistance this time, which was unusual for character meet and greets at this place.
And so we turn a corner to like walk in, and there's no character in there. And Darth Vader, I wish Daniel had been filming at this point, but you weren't.
It was so unexpected.
But Darth Vader was standing
I'd have dropped my phone anyway if I was filming.
It would have been great. He was standing in the darkest corner of the room, and he just comes rushing out. And I'm holding both boys' arms and all our hands, and all three of us just jumped. Daniel's behind us doing who knows what, so I don't know if he jumped or not.
Yeah, no, probably not. I'm so brave.
But all three of us jumped, and we're like, oh, that was unexpected. And so Darth Vader starts talking to us, and our oldest goes, I can tell you where the rebel spy is.
Yeah, instantly selling him out. Like, no hesitation.
Well, he had told us he was going to do that because he was going to try to get on Vader's good side.
Nice.
And our oldest was wearing a sweatshirt that we had bought him because it was warmer that morning, so we hadn't brought him a sweatshirt into the park. We didn't end up going back for a break that day. Because we weren't planning to stay late. So we were like, okay, we're just going to stay in the park. And so we bought him a sweatshirt and it said Pizza Smuggler. And the pizza was in the shape of
the Millennium Falcon.
Of the Millennium Falcon. And yeah, so our oldest goes, I know where the rebel spy is. And so Darth Vader takes
appreciative.
Our kids back to his area and starts talking to them about stuff. And I don't remember. So Daniel did hand his phone to the other cast member who I think filmed quite a bit of it.
I think so. Was filming and taking pictures.
Yeah. So, and I haven't watched that yet. So I don't remember all the conversations, but I was just so shocked from that initial interaction.
That was good. That was a lot of fun.
And then we headed over to, was it the Star Trader? And the boys each made one of those kid lightsabers that you get to make.
Yeah.
I was shocked at how cheap they were. They were like $30. I want to say that is one of the best. If your kid is into Star Wars, that is like one of the best souvenirs you can get them because they get to make their own. They get to pick their pieces. Granted, I pinched my fingers a couple times trying to help our kids.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And then we took them apart to get them home. So they fit in the suitcase, easily put them back together. I don't know. Yeah, they've been played with a couple times at home.
Yeah.
But we got some cool pictures.
Our oldest wanted to go fight Vader for some reason.
Yeah, he wanted to go back and fight Vader. That's right.
He's remorseful for his betrayal of the rebellion.
Yeah. So we compromised and he went on the Millennium Falcon with Daniel.
Yes,
and I took pictures of our youngest in front of the Millennium Falcon with the moon above him with his lightsaber. And he felt so cool and he looked really cool.
At some point we got
he had his Grogu ears on. It's adorable.
Yes.
His face is kind of hidden in one of the pictures, so we might be able to post it.
At some point we got pasta fasoli, breadsticks, Asian chicken salad, and pizza from, of course, Pizza Planet, our oldest favorite. But the more exciting bit was we saw someone get arrested there. It was, obviously it's a bummer situation, but it was interesting because I'd never actually seen Anaheim Police Department in the park, and we saw I didn't even know exactly what was going on. If our kids had not been there, I probably would have tried to sit down right next to them and pretend to eat my dinner. But yeah, we saw someone get arrested by the big police.
Yeah, so you were finishing with the boys with their lightsabers, and then I went to go grab the food, and I walked right past them. And I was so focused on checking in for my mobile order that it didn't even register what was going on with them until like I was right next to them, and I was like, I probably should have given them more space. It's like, whoops. Hopefully I don't get in trouble, but I just kept walking. And then you went on Millennium Falcon after dinner.
Yep.
So back to that. Sorry, I had skipped dinner. Then our youngest and I went to Red Rose to get our gray stuff. And that is when we had the interaction with the cast member, David, who gave us the second gray stuff for free. And then told us all those interesting facts about the Red Rose Tavern.
Yeah.
And also just about the park. And yeah, it was just another amazing cast member interaction. Some good memories there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a Sprite in
Great.
Galaxy's Edge.
Great. You just had to keep interrupting me to get that out
I
there.
got a Sprite and it was in a thermal detonator container. So now I've got two. Well, this is
not the end.
This is not the end. We'll get into December 1st.
No, we have more to do.
Oh, is there more? There's all I got.
There's more.
But wait, there's more. This isn't over yet.
I can't quite remember what all happened, but I think, so this is a day that we skipped a rest time and we just planned to go back early. And I think, like I have said on other times, if you take your kids to Disneyland, take them for a rest. I did not listen to my own advice and we regretted it. Yeah, one of our kids ended up having a meltdown.
Pretty cranky.
And so we were able to work through it. And we ended the night off with Asha from Wish.
That's right.
And so that really helped our oldest because he was having a hard time. And so that really helped him to turn the night around for him. and he got pictures, and was holding his wish zipper and got to talk to her. And there was the red yarn from the movie in the tree behind her.
Yeah.
And it was just such a magical moment for him, and it really made his evening. So it was just perfect. A perfect way to end the night. And I want to say that was probably like around 8:30 or 9. Not super late, but when you've been walking all day, that is late. So
yeah, this was a heck of a trip too.
Yeah.
We did a lot.
Then we paused on Main Street by the tree so that I could recount our interaction with David. So that was a good ending to that night, to see Asha. And again, our youngest was in the stroller hiding behind me, not wanting to.
Yeah.
I think he waved. I think he did wave.
Mm-hmm.
And so Asha did a nice sweet wave to him. And so that was a very special moment. And our oldest was so excited because while the movie, I think, in my opinion, is just okay, he has loved it. So
good for him.
Yeah. So meeting Asha, seeing the yarn, holding his wish zipper, that just made his night.
Yeah, it was a character that he could relate to a lot more than some of the other ones, because he's seen a lot of these movies.
Yeah.
But like he had just seen Wish, and he was carrying around a character from Wish, and then getting to meet another character. He really loved that. Yeah.
It's like Beauty and the Beast, right? For us, because we grew up when that movie came out. And while that's a classic for us, that's just a classic in general. But that is someone that it was like, yeah, that was during my lifetime. And this is a movie where our oldest is like, this is during my lifetime and something I remember. Because even Frozen isn't during his lifetime.
We should have met Mirabelle, but she was never out.
I don't think you would have cared.
He should have. It's a much better movie than Wish.
But anyway, that's what he was excited about.
Yeah.
So it was a wonderful way to end that evening. And then our youngest, his wonderful ending to his evening is he got to eat almost an entire gray stuff by himself.
Yes.
While I was talking to David, the cast member, because I was talking and listening, not paying attention to our youngest, and he just kept eating. And I only noticed how much he was eating when he reached for the second, which was next to me. And I looked down and I see him pulling the plate to himself.
He was starting to eat the second one?
And his big eyes just looking at me with a smile of like, I'm going to start on the second. And I'm like, oh, no, you're not.
It's a good thing David gave you a second one.
So they both had a very good ending to their evening. Yeah. Thankfully, our youngest did not end up sick that night. But that is a story for
happened
next time.
Yeah,
so we will be doing another episode probably next week.
You want to get another one out sooner?
Yes,
okay.
Because our timeline, we have a countdown to another trip.
Because we're going again.
So we will be doing, who knew that so much happened in that Disney? But yeah, a lot did.
So we'll do an episode next week and the following week. We're going to
do 3 in a row.
We're going to try to do that. No promises, but we'll try.
We've
got Lunar New Year coming up, and we're going to Universal Studios and Disneyland for Lunar New Year.
We're crazy.
Yeah. Yep. But we're annual pass holders now for Universal Studios. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for listening. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, please, please, please like and subscribe. Send us an email. We love to hear from anybody, even if you don't think it's like a very interesting thing. It just lets us know that somebody has heard it. So if you can contact us on any social media, at OfMiceandMatterhorns, except on X or Twitter. We are at Mice Matterhorns. Email us at ofmiceandmatterhorns@gmail.com. And again, any form of social media, we're pretty much there. Threads, we're not super active on Threads, but TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all that fun stuff.
If you see any of Daniel's posts on Instagram for our Of Mice and Matterhorns Instagram account, I would love to know what your top 5 rides are at Disneyland and California Adventure. since Daniel has now listed his, which included Canoes.
Yeah, we should. I'm excited to get out of these trip reports. I really love doing these episodes because there's so much.
What?
But no,
What?
I'm sorry.
Okay,
let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that.
I'm so excited to get out of going on trips.
I'm excited to get out to.
You can stay home, and I will go alone.
Let me rephrase that. I'm excited to do episodes where we can talk about topics again. We're doing trip reports, and this is a lot of fun. It's not that I don't want to do the trip reports. It just would be fun to talk about what our top 5 are and hear what other people's top 5 are. But yeah, that's great. What are your top 5 rides? Real quick, do you have a top 5?
I have a top 2. Rise of Resistance and Radiator Springs Racers are my top 2.
Sure.
Then probably Web Slingers. That's a joke.
Okay. It's real good.
I just wanted to see your face when I said that.
Great.
Luigi's Relic and Roadsters.
Are you joking?
Yes.
Are you doing this to, okay.
Yeah, I'm just doing this to bug you.
This can't be your favorite.
Yeah, I pretty much have like a top 2. And I think all the other one. Runaway Railway.
Ooh.
Or as you call it, Runaway Railroad.
Oh, that's a really good one.
Mm-hmm. That's my top 3.
That's a modern classic.
Yeah. Space Mountain, we'll get into that next time, but it's not really on my top 5 anymore. It used to be.
All right. Well,
I have some negative associations with that ride now.
Well, thank you so much for listening. And as always, have a Disney day.
Your attention, please. Of Mice and Matterhorns has now ended its normal operating episode. We thank you for your visit to our podcast and hope that the memories that you made will bring you back soon.